Welcome in, and we start with that breaking news. New York Attorney General Letitia James, she pleaded not guilty to federal bank fraud charges today. And just moments ago, she addressed reporters when she left the courtroom. And we want to play her entire remarks for you right now, so take a listen.
So I want to thank all of you. I want to thank each and every one of you. I want to thank you for your prayers. I want to thank you for your emails. I want to thank you for your support. It has strengthened my spirit, and it has anchored my soul. And so I want to thank you. But this is not about me. This is about all of us. And about a justice system which has been weaponized. A justice system which has been used as a tool of revenge. This justice system which has been used as a tool of revenge. And a weapon against those individuals who simply did their job and who stood up for the rule of law. We stand with you! And a justice system which unfortunately is nothing being used as a vehicle of retribution. Yes. But my faith is strong. And my faith is, I have this belief in the justice system, in the rule of law, and I have a belief in America and all of its individuals who have stood with me, not only in New York, but all across this nation. I've heard from just about every jurisdiction in this nation who have said, stand up and be tall. And never ever cow down or back down or break or bend. So there's no fear today. No fear. No fear. No fear. No fear. Because I believe that justice will rain down like water and righteousness like a mighty stream. Preach. And I'm here to say that my work and my job and all that I do, all throughout my public career, I've stood up for the rights of New Yorkers and Americans, and I will not be deterred. That's a lie. And I will not be deterred. I will not be distracted. I will do my job each and every day, and that's why I'm headed back to New York, because there's work to be done standing up for the rule of law. God bless you and thank you all, and I appreciate you.
And you were hearing from New York Attorney General Letitia James there after she pleaded not guilty to federal bank fraud charges. I want to bring in CBS News legal reporter Katrina Kaufman, who's joining us now for much more. Katrina, thank you again for your time today. Can you walk us through what happened in court?
Mugo, so to start, as you said, she pled not guilty to both counts here. Also, a trial date has been set. That is for January 26th. It's said that this will be a 5-day trial. The prosecution says they have about 8 to 10 witnesses that they want to put on, Mugo. And then there will be various deadlines for pretrial motions and discovery during November and December, as well as a date has been set, November 13th, for a challenge that Letitia James wants to make to the unlawful appointment of U.S. Attorney Lindsay Halligan.
And Katrina, obviously, as you just mentioned, there is a lot happening from now up until January 26th. But as we spoke during the last hour, you said this is actually pretty quick. That date of January 26th is pretty fast for a case like this.
It is. But this district is known for having a rocket docket, Mugo. So we've also seen James Comey's case was given about the same timeline. That will happen at the beginning of January. So it's normal for this district, but it is quick for a trial. It will give them a few months to prepare. But this is also, it's a mortgage fraud trial. It's not super complicated charges here. This will absolutely give them time. And James's team is also going to be making an effort to get this case dismissed altogether before that even happens.
All right, we'll see if they're able to get that done and be successful in the process. Katrina Kaufman, thank you so much once again for your time. So let's talk about what all of this means. We're going to bring in Tom Dupree. Tom, you served as the principal deputy assistant attorney general under former President George W. Bush. So my question for you is, what is the strategy for both the defense and the prosecution in this case?
Sure. Well, the defense's strategy is going to be to knock this indictment out before it ever sees the light of day before a jury. What they are going to try to argue is that the prosecutor, Lindsay Halligan's appointment was unlawful. And so they're basically going to try to short circuit this entire case and get it thrown out. From the prosecution side, I think their strategy here is just to move this ahead as quickly as they can and get their case before a jury. Put on their evidence, make their arguments to the jurors, and hopefully, for the prosecution's perspective, secure a conviction. They obviously want to sustain Lindsay Halligan's appointment, fend off the arguments that her appointment was unlawful, and basically get their day in court before that jury.
Tom, what do you make of these charges against James?
You know, this is obviously an unusual case in pretty much every respect. Mortgage fraud cases are common, but they're not so common when you're talking about what we have here, which seems to be a fairly low amount of money at stake, kind of a case where someone, arguably checked the box that they shouldn't have, but it's not the sort of mortgage fraud scheme you see reflected in other federal indictments, where you have what would be kind of a much more strategic, intentional scheme to defraud involving millions of dollars, lots of victims, that sort of thing. This case doesn't have any of the hallmarks of the other types of mortgage fraud cases we've seen. Doesn't mean that a jury wouldn't ultimately convict, but this case is very different.
All right, Tom Dupree, thank you so much for your insight. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And now we want to bring in CBS News Justice correspondent Scott MacFarlane. Scott, what's coming up next in this case?
Well, technically, there's a trial date on the calendar, and I emphasize technically because I would not wager heavily that this trial goes off on the projected date of January 2026. Even in Virginia, where the federal court system moves relatively quickly, there's no way this thing gets to trial in that short a time period. I think the next date on the calendar that's impactful is November 13th, in about a couple of weeks. On November 13th, both Letitia James and former FBI Director James Comey are going to have a consolidated argument together that the prosecutor who brought both of their cases, Lindsay Halligan, was unlawfully appointed. That argument's going to happen in the courthouse where Comey's case is based, Alexandria, Virginia. In fact, they're bringing in an out-of-state federal judge to hear that argument because it involves trying to disqualify the U.S. attorney in the Eastern District of Virginia, and no local judges want a piece of that. If those arguments succeed, there could be a dismissal of each case. It also could have outsized impact on other Trump-appointed federal prosecutors bringing cases against people who argue they are Trump's political enemies, who may eventually argue there's a vindictive selective prosecution underway. It's also possible Letitia James makes that argument too, files another motion to dismiss this case in the coming days and weeks, arguing that she is being vindictively prosecuted, unlawfully so, for political purposes.
Yeah, and Scott, I want to stay with that because she and several others have said that this is all part of President Trump's efforts to target his political opponents. And we know several others are also in the president's crosshairs. We're talking former FBI Director James Comey and also Senator Adam Schiff. Do we have any updates there?
Yeah, the Department of Justice issued a statement to CBS News saying an investigation into Adam Schiff proceeds along, trying to dispute reports, including information we're getting from sources, that there may be some disagreement inside the Department of Justice about whether to proceed with a case against Adam Schiff. Adam Schiff, the senator from California, longtime Trump critic who led Trump's first impeachment in 2020. There are also the matters of Lisa Cook, the Federal Reserve Board governor the president has tried to oust from her position. There's a reported investigation going on there. Everybody I've just named has denied any wrongdoing, and their defense attorneys have argued unequivocally they believe this to be political vindictiveness and retribution for past criticisms of the president.
All right, Scott MacFarlane, thank you for joining us and for your reporting.